Hey guys, Isabel here. Welcome back to Railed In. The newest Marvel movie has been released technically today, but I got to see it last night, so this video is going to be a review on Doctor Strange 2: The Multiverse of Madness. That being said, this video will contain spoilers for this movie, so if you have not seen it yet, go see it and then come back and watch me. That being said, going into this movie, I was super excited for it. You know, I don't mind Doctor Strange. I think he's a very interesting character, but my girl Wanda, woo! Really, personally, if you guys are Doctor Strange fans, all the power to you know, but I was here for Wanda, to be totally honest. If I'm being totally honest, this was her movie. But I will say this movie actually wasn't really what I expected it to be. And I do kind of think this is another example of how I think Marvel is starting to show like too many trailers and like too many scenes from like the movies that they're gonna have release. Honestly, 2 trailers is enough, personally, for me. I just feel like the more you show stuff, the more expectations people have. And then I think it gives off certain vibes. When you go to the movie, the vibe is a little bit different. That being said, though, I did not hate this movie at all. In fact, I loved it. So basically, in the movie, we start off with America Chavez and one of the variants of Doctor Strange. Or maybe not a variant, because he does live in one of the other multiple realities. And I even knew the name of this Doctor Strange, this other Doctor Strange. However, I forgot what it is, but it's the one with the ponytail. And what I thought was really interesting is that this Stephen Strange's power was actually a different color. I'm going to say the original Stephen Strange will be the MCU Stephen. So the MCU Stephen, his power is like green, as well as, you know, the typical orange that all of the sorcerers have an ability to create. But this Stephen's power was very like light green. It was almost like a teal color, and I just thought that was kind of interesting. I'm sure there is a reason behind that in the comics, or like an Easter egg or something. I don't know what that is currently, but I will find out. And one thing that did leave me a little bit confused, I was like, so this Stephen turned around and tried to take America's power because they're being chased by a demon, and the demon wanted America's power, and we were all really confused as to why that was. But I think it was really interesting because I feel like it set up how the movie tried to make it seem is that the MCU Steven is like the Steven, and that all the other Stevens from the other timelines, like, they weren't the best person, and they were just like a lot more selfish and egotistical. And there's a line that they use a lot in this movie, that Steven always has to be the one holding the knife, and you can kind of see that with all the other Stevens going around, and even in the MCU Steven in the earlier movies. So I think that's what they're trying to show with the whole, like, alternate Stephen just up and choosing to take away America's powers without, like, discussing with her, even though they didn't really have time to discuss because, like, the demon had them, essentially. Also, one thing I was just, like, kind of, like, left me a little bit puzzled is that, so Stephen goes to Christine's wedding, and then there's this guy who sits next to him, like a fellow rival doctor of some sort, and he like tries to guilt trip Steven about having people be blipped. And that's what makes me really confused, because they do mention events that happened in Endgame in the actual MCU. How does the general public know every single small detail about what happened there, whose decision was to do what? Like, how do they all know this? Did the leftover Avengers have to do a giant like press release? And that's not like something I'm mad about. That's being in the movie. I'm just confused because they also seem, at least in my personal opinion, they tried to guilt trip Steven, and so you're gonna think, oh, he feels guilty. There's gonna be a whole arc with that, and then he's gonna overcome it and be confident again in himself or whatever. That didn't really happen exactly. So I feel like they threw in, it was like mentioned twice. They threw in the guilt tripping like twice. And then they kind of just like, yeah, okay, left it alone. So, but that being said, this is also only me seeing this movie once, and the movie is pretty trippy, I'm gonna be honest. So I feel like in order to understand everything, I definitely gotta see it again. But then America, I know her powers are her being able to basically punch portals through the different multiverses. She can travel the multiverse. That's her really cool power. And so when she gets scared, she opens up a portal to escape whatever fear she's facing. And that's how she ends up in the MCU, Steven's multiverse. Not multiverse, just, well, one of his verse, his universe. That's, yeah, okay. But a demon follows her or somehow finds her also in this universe. And so there's a whole fight scene in the streets of New York, which introduces Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme. I'm always happy to see Wong. But also another really interesting detail is when Wong and Steven are fighting this, like, demon, Steven Demon, that kind of rhymes. So they're like blasting it, and you know, Steven's magic is green, so the green magic like shoots at the demon and like burns him or something. And then the demon releases like a purple smoke, which we know to be Agatha's magical color, also associated with like dark magic. I'm pretty sure dark magic is also the purple. That's the color, I think. But so hint right there that a magical being is controlling this creature, and my thought was either Agatha's gonna make an appearance because she does have a House of Harkness coming out in the future, her own show, I believe it is, or it's Wanda. My brain immediately was like, I kind of hope it's not Wanda, but if it is, like, this girl's got some moves. She got some tricks up her sleeve. And something I also really liked seeing was that we got to see Doctor Strange use a lot of new powers, or relatively new, because if you guys watched What If episode 4, he does a lot of like monster body part illusions in this movie. And so if you watched, I think it's episode 4, but basically the Doctor Strange episode of What If, you see him like absorb all these monsters. So it's kind of interesting to see how they incorporated that into this movie. And also something I forgot when I was watching the movie, that America came through her multiverse portal, her star portal, and she actually brought the other Doctor Strange with a ponytail, and he is dead. And so essentially using magic, the MCU Doctor Strange buries the other Doctor Strange, and I feel like there has to be there's like something to be said that like he was basically burying himself. That was a little bit meta, but Doctor Strange didn't seem too bothered by it. And then of course it's revealed that this demon has a bunch of ruins on its tentacles in its body. And if you watched WandaVision, we know that ruins can also lead to witchcraft. But then in order to find out more information on the multiverse, because Wanda is a Nexus being and she can literally travel through I need to relook up what Nexus being is. When I did my whole videos on the WandaVision TV series, I had a better explanation as to what that was, but my understanding is that a Nexus being can essentially like travel through the different universes and still like remain herself. Wanda doesn't have a variant because of the fact that she is a Nexus being. Or at least that's what I think it should mean. So actually, I feel like I'm confused now. This movie definitely needs to be seen twice. But as we first see Wanda, she is dreaming, and she's with her children, Tommy and Billy. And the WandaVision theme plays, and it's really heartbreaking. And I was really excited because I thought like this was like Wanda, and for a second I was like, she created another Westview. Oh no. And then she wakes up from her dream, and I'm like, literally, you're not even like 20 minutes into the movie, and I'm literally already heartbroken. But Wanda's illusions are something else because she is able to fool Doctor Strange until she verbally slips up. And Wanda's villain era in this movie is something else, let me tell you. And even though she is technically the antagonist in this movie, I was never not here for Wanda because she makes some great points. Literally, I'm looking at the notes I took from the movie theater, and half of it is just like, Wanda, Lizzie, Wanda. Like top performance of this movie. And also Elizabeth Olsen. Her acting is just, it's otherworldly, honestly. We love a powerful witch. And when Wanda uses her magic, she actually has the blackened fingertips like Agatha did in WandaVision, because she's been using the Darkhold for like way longer than I think she was supposed to. Also, one thing I did notice is that for me personally, it was actually a little bit hard to continue to like write notes down so I can give this review to you guys, because like I feel like every little detail in the movie you had to pay super close attention to understand what was going to happen next. But basically, Doctor Strange and Wong and America head to Camartage to essentially use it as a fortress and protect America from the coming Wanda. But Wanda arrives and she uses her awesome, powerful powers as well as her brains, which I liked seeing. I'm glad this wasn't just like a typical like power versus power situation. Wanda used her brains and she did a lot of her mental mind tricks to get into where she needed to be. We're here. We're here for Wanda. I'm here, at least, for Wanda. But Doctor Strange and Wanda, they battle it out. And we do see some of the what if monsters again. I think these are like I'm going to call them the Hydra heads, because they're like they're like multiple dragon heads / necks being like shot out of Doctor Strange's arms. So that's what I'm going to call them. And we do see Doctor Strange absorbing a similar monster in the What If episode. But something they also did, which I think is technically considered like lore, which I love learning more about, but it's that when you dream, you're actually dreaming about one of your alternate selves in one of the other multiverses, in one of the other universes. I guess I'm just going to use those interchangeably now. So if you dream like you're falling, you are actually falling in another universe. If you dream where you have a whole different family for some reason, that's also you. It's a different you in another universe, which I really liked because it makes sense to Wanda's original dream when we first see her, that she's dreaming of a different her in another universe who gets to be happy and she doesn't. And honestly, that has to drive you crazy, I feel like. But something we've also been seeing with Doctor Strange, not only in this movie but also in Spider-Man No Way Home, is that I personally think he's growing to be a pretty decent like guardian figure. I wouldn't say necessarily a parental figure, because I don't think he'd be a good one like 24/7, you know, like if America or Peter like had to live with him. Don't think he'd be like, I think he would snap from being annoyed by them. But like being able to calm them down and even reassure them to some degree, I think he like it, and obviously he wants to protect them, especially America in this movie. And maybe because he didn't. There is a difference when how he felt towards Peter and versus America. With Peter, he was still a bit standoffish, but I feel like to some degree Doctor Strange does remember what happened, because Spider-Man is in fact mentioned in this movie. But I feel like Doctor Strange feels guilty a little bit, or he feels bad about how maybe if he was a bit more proactive, Peter wouldn't have had to go through what he had to go through. So that's why I feel like his attitude, he's a lot more gentle towards America in this movie. Also, another image that's also played throughout this movie is his watch, the watch with the broken face, the broken glass on it, which I think has some like, you know, metaphor / representation. The multiverses are all split, and so we first see Doctor Strange looking into the reflection of this broken glass, and you can see a bunch of his different faces in each fragment of glass that has been broken. And we find out that this watch was given to him by Christine on one of their dates, when I think Strange was still like in med school. Also, another thing I would have loved to see in this movie that didn't happen, I'm actually kind of upset it didn't happen. I understand why it didn't, but also part of this feels unfinished for me. But basically we find out, you know, America and her two moms, we find out how they got separated is because whatever home planet America is from, she saw a bee and I guess she got scared. She was picking flowers for her parents. And then she opened up a portal because she got really scared, and her parents got sucked through it, and so did America. And I guess they got separated once they got sucked into the portal. So there's like a parent and child separated theme. That's a theme. Wanda is trying to find her children, and that's why she wants America's powers, because Wanda has been the one controlling the demons. I actually forgot if I mentioned that earlier. If I didn't, now you know. So Wanda wants to absorb America's powers so she can travel through multiverses as well. But what I hoped would have happened was that, because I did know that Wanda was gonna realize that what she was doing and the way she was doing it was not the best. I was still here for it, but not the best way to do things. But that, in realizing that, and maybe by somehow going to America's head and seeing this exact memory, that Wanda was actually going to help America relocate her parents. So, with Wanda not being able to reunite with her own children, she could have helped reunite a child with her parents. That's what I thought was going to happen. That did not happen, and I will go into why I feel like Wanda's story was incomplete in this movie towards the end. Because I feel like that whole thing would have completed Wanda's arc in this movie. Not like her total arc, but just like her arc in this movie. But basically, America gets scared again, understandably so. Wanda is literally trying to suck the powers out of her. And so she opens up a portal, and Doctor Strange tackles America through it, leaving behind Wong and Wanda to duel it out. But Doctor Strange and America, they get portaled to like a really nice looking universe. There's like all these different colored trees on buildings, like it just looks clean. It's like I guess a better version of the universe, of just like our universe, essentially. Like everyone's happy kind of thing. There's resources for everyone. But we get to the sanctum and we see a giant statue of Doctor Strange because we are told that he died defeating Thanos and that this world's Sorcerer Supreme is Mordo, who was the antagonist in the first Doctor Strange movie. And I have to say, they set up Mordo being like the next big bad for Doctor Strange in like one of the end credit scenes of the first Doctor Strange movie. And so it was fun to see him again and like in this capacity. But I do feel like it was kind of a letdown because I feel like they had set up a lot of stuff from the first Doctor Strange movie that they kind of just did not decide to use. That's my own personal opinion. If you guys have different opinions, that's cool. Let me know what they are down below. Because they still gotta make Mordo kind of Doctor Strange's frenemy, essentially. Mordo drugs Doctor Strange and America in their tea, and they pass out. And then we go back to Wanda, who is trying to dream walk by using a very intense spell from the Darkhold, which is basically she can go into one of her bodies that's in another universe, and she can possess them and control them, essentially. Which I feel like the fact that she is a Nexus being, she should not need to do. Because I feel like I think her being a Nexus being is that she's like a fixed point in every... I need to look up what a Nexus being is again, and I'm really mad at myself that I don't remember, because I had like a whole video on it when I was doing the WandaVision stuff. Ugh, whatever. But I feel like that's something that they did not have to... Like, I feel like she could literally just go. But maybe she hasn't learned that yet, but that's also kind of... Because she's learned so many things from the Darkhold itself, and the Darkhold is literally like the book on Scarlet Witch, essentially. So I feel like... I don't know. I feel like she should have learned how to do that by now. But maybe I'm wrong, and the fact that she's a Nexus being, maybe she still can't do that. I don't know. I could be totally wrong. But essentially, she does, in fact, successfully possess the other Wanda. The Wanda she saw in her dream, who has her children. And I don't think she thought this whole thing through because, of course, her children, like, are gonna want to interact with their mom. Like, even when the other Wanda possesses this Wanda. And so they try to gain her attention because they want more ice cream. And there is a song, a very quick, like 30-second song that these two children sing about ice cream. And let me tell you something. I have never cried harder over ice cream in my life. And also, of course, a testament to Lizzie's acting in this scene because she was crying over ice cream too. Oh my God. I did love, though, the like heart-wrenching moments of Wanda not actually being Wanda, seeing her children and like not really being able to be with them. Like I was here for gut-wrenching moments and they delivered on that. So yeah. And I know this was confirmed in another trailer or like press junket release, which is something I didn't like. I'm like, let us, watch it in the whole movie. But basically, the Illuminati confirmed in this movie and in this universe that they're in. Because essentially, Doctor Strange and America wake up imprisoned, and then Doctor Strange goes to some sort of like trial, some like judge and jury sort of thing with the Illuminati, and he's escorted by what looks like Ultron bots. So like if the Ultron program had in fact succeeded for what Tony Stark originally wanted it to do. But basically, and like full spoilers, as I mentioned before, if you haven't caught on yet, the Illuminati, the panel consists of course, Mordo, Captain Carter, which I didn't know I needed to see her in live action, but I did. Because she's in What If, but Captain Carter, Black Bolt, I think is what it's called. I'm not too familiar with him, but essentially his voice is like deadly. So if even like someone just whispers towards you, you're dead, pretty much. And then we had Captain Marvel, I think, and I'm not certain on this. So if you guys know, let me know in the comments. But I think it was Maria Rambeau, like that was, because I think she was in the comics also Captain Marvel. So I think that was, like it is Captain Marvel, but I think it was Maria as Captain Marvel. And then we have Reed, the stretchy guy from Fantastic Four. I'll be totally honest, I haven't watched Fantastic Four since I was like a child. But the actor is John Krakowski, I think. Is that how you pronounce his name? Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. But he was Reed from Fantastic Four. And then of course, Charles Xavier strolls through in his little sports car wheelchair. And that, my friends, is the lineup for the Illuminati. And this whole scene kind of goes back and forth between Wanda trying to repossess herself and then Strange interacting with the Illuminati. But basically, Wong and one of the other sorcerers who had not perished in Wanda's initial barrage of Kamar-Taj stabs the Darkhold, and that destroys it. I thought the Darkhold for some reason would be a lot harder to destroy than that. Again, I might have missed a detail while writing down one of my notes. So, but the Darkhold is destroyed and Wanda freaks out. And she forces Wong to take her to this mountain where the original Darkhold script is found, because the Darkhold was a copy. But during all these scenes, an interesting fact I noticed is that the more Wanda uses her dark magic, the darker her entire suit gets. So when we first see her suit, it only has splotches of like blackness, but towards the end, almost her entire suit is covered with in black. Especially her I'm gonna call it a crown, and yeah, her crown essentially. But Wong takes her to this, I'm gonna say what looks like a fortress of some sort, and they go in, and it gave me, honestly, Lord of the Ring vibes, because they're in this like dark structure carved from stone, and then these like 4 monsters come out of the darkness, and honestly they looked a lot like the Balrogs, the demon things from the first Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring movie, where Gandalf goes, "You shall not pass," and then yeah. So that's what they looked like, and I was like, they definitely, I feel like we're inspired. But those monster things, they have the same glowing eyes as that Wanda gets, the red color, and so originally I was like, these are hers exactly, and then they bowed to her, and I was like, not them bowing to Wanda, and they have the typical picture of the Scarlet Witch with like the flowing Medusa hair and the hands. Like there's a humongous statue. So I loved the design of this temple, Wanda's throne essentially. But now I'm even more curious because they didn't really explain how this temple became into existence. Just that a demon, I think, carved it or something. Like it was built by a demon, I think is what they said. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like we didn't get as much deep dive into Wanda's or the Scarlet Witch's origin and like how she came to be, which is what I thought was going to happen in this movie. And I didn't, at least for me, it didn't dive in as much as I wanted it to. Which, of course, if there's going to be later movies that explore this concept, that's totally fine. But going back to Doctor Strange being held by the Illuminati, it's revealed that Doctor Strange is always like the dangerous person, no matter what universe he's from, and that most oftentimes than not, he is the one in other universes that creates an incursion, which is essentially that's like morphing two universes into one, which destroys either one or both of the universes, which we did see in What If, the Doctor Strange episode. I think it's episode 4, but like we did see that occur. So because Strange was trying to save Christine and he was trying to, gain more power, and he essentially destroyed his universe, and the Watcher watched that happen. And also that it's believed that there are a lot more dark Doctor Stranges / evil Doctor Strangers than I thought, because as it turns out, this Doctor Strange did not die heroically. It was not by like trying to defeat Thanos, as the plaque on his statue suggested, but actually the Illuminati killed him because he was doing some stuff. He was doing some whack stuff, I think, with the Darkhold, and he was using magic he shouldn't have, and he almost created an incursion, I think. He did some bad things, and then so they killed him. But the moments following this scene, I think, are some of the best scenes. And of course it's because Wanda's in it, because Wanda went savage. She went savage. First of all, when did Captain Carter get a jetpack? I'd like to know that. But just me, like, watching this whole scene, my mouth was just dropped. Like I was like, what? Like the whole, like, I had no words for the whole scene. Because let me tell you something, Wanda is so powerful, and this is the deadliest we have ever seen her. And I won't say what exactly happens with the Illuminati characters, because I want you guys' mouth to be dropped as well if you are just seeing this and not, like, before you watch the movie. But Professor X does this one really cool thing where I think he kind of goes inside of Wanda's mind, and we see like this white room, and like there's like rubble, and I'm pretty sure it's when Sokovia was bombed, because there's a sitcom playing on like a broken TV essentially. But then Wanda actually like she kind of pops a little bit out of like the ruins because she's trapped under there, and Professor X, is that who that is? Charles Xavier. He says that like the Scarlet Witch has trapped Wanda in her own mind, and he tries to get her out by like pulling her out of the rubble. And honestly, I'm always here for Wanda, but I'm super glad for that distinction, that the person causing all this like strife is actually the Scarlet Witch and not Wanda herself. But of course, the Scarlet Witch, you can't really get into her mind when she's the master of mind tricks, because she stops that rescue real quick. But also seeing this, I thought there was gonna be more of like mentally Wanda versus Scarlet Witch, which we didn't really get. So a little bit disappointed about that. But I'm still glad for the distinction. And also, honestly, I loved watching the Scarlet Witch do what she do. Like I really enjoyed it. Probably more than I should have. And then we've also been told that this, Multiverse of Madness is a little bit more of like the horror movie of the MCU. And we definitely saw that. Like, the Scarlet Witch, she is scary. But Christine, America, and Doctor Strange, they go to where we were first at the start of the movie, when America and the other Doctor Strange was trying to get, I'm gonna call it the Book of the Light, because I don't remember how to pronounce or even the name of what it actually is called, but it's like the opposite of the Darkhold essentially. And it's supposed to stop Wanda from pursuing America to steal her powers. So that's why they want the book. So they go into this realm. It's like, well, it's not really a realm. It's like a gap between all the other universes, and that's where the book is stored. So they go there, and it's a Doctor Strange takes the book, and then Wanda shows up, of course, because they took too long trying to get the book, like as per usual in most movies, like in this kind of situation. But so there's like a whole fight scene, and Wanda uses America's powers to open up a portal to the original Wanda, who is meditating, doing her meditating magic in the temple. And so she pushes Doctor Strange and Christine through a portal first to go somewhere else, not to where Wanda is. And then she takes America and essentially shoves her into the portal. This is like, it's like, it makes sense when you see it, but trying to explain it is a little bit difficult. And then she leaves the other Wanda. She stops possessing that Wanda. And for a second I was really worried that Wanda was gonna be stuck. But then Wanda because that Wanda also has magic, so she just flew back into the other universe. Yeah. But the universe that Doctor Strange and Christine get portaled into is, I think, one that either is or is very similar to the universe that happened in What If. We see what looks like this black ink being absorbed, into the sky. All of the buildings and the people are being destroyed, essentially, in this universe. And so they try and go find the Doctor Strange in that universe, and it is the evil Doctor Strange, also from What If, or at least similar to the What If version of that Strange. But we find out a little bit more about Doctor Strange himself. He had a sister named Donna. I don't think that was mentioned in the first Strange movie or in any of the other movies Doctor Strange has been in. But basically she died because she fell into a frozen lake, and I personally think that's why Doctor Strange wanted to become a doctor, because he couldn't save his sister, and since he couldn't save his sister, he decided he'd save as many lives as he possibly could. But evil Doctor Strange is the one, this one is the one who always wants to be with Christine, so I think it is actually maybe the same Strange from What If. If not, then those two universes, they must be parallel universes, because it is all quite similar. But they fight, and the other Doctor Strange comes out on top, and for those who didn't think music was deadly, I think have to reevaluate their opinion after watching this scene. But basically, the other Doctor Strange kills evil Doctor Strange because he gets impaled on a fence. So, but in order to save America from Wanda's magic, Doctor Strange does his own dream walking, but you can't. Who is he? He's not in his own universe, so who is he going to inhabit? The dead Doctor Strange that he buried earlier. Yeah, he possessed a dead body. Yeah, but we also get Zombie Strange, which is also from What If. So, but then while Doctor Strange is in his zombie mind, his body has to be protected because apparently it's like illegal to possess a dead person. And one thing I do like about Doctor Strange is he always pushes the boundaries, so good for him. But essentially Christine is there to protect his body, and she's good. I'm so glad we got to see a lot more of Christine in this movie, because she's only really been in a couple of minutes of the movie here and there in the past. So I'm really glad she got a lot of screen time. But so now they all converge on this Scarlet Witch temple, essentially, and Wong, my man, is always coming in clutch. You can't kill Wong, because there's a scene where you think he might be dead, but he's not. But also with Strange possessing this zombie, the soul, the departed souls try and kill him essentially because of what he's doing is wrong, it's illegal or it's whatever. And another interesting fact, and which I think proves, just how powerful Doctor Strange is essentially Doctor Strange can control the dead, the souls of the dead, which doesn't seem like a power people often think about, but I think is one of the most powerful concepts that you can explore. And if someone can control the dead, it's super hard to stop them. But then there is another big fight, and I don't want to spoil that, again, if you're watching this first and not the movie. But essentially, Zombie Strange does in fact make it to the temple, and he has a heart-to-heart talk with America about her always having to know how to control her powers. Mentally, she just mentally had to believe in herself. Which I'm always here for that concept, but I was also kind of hoping we would maybe get like a more physical aspect of America learning how to control her powers. You know, I'm always down for, even if it's like 2 minutes long, I'm always down for a quick, like, you know, training / refining someone's abilities scene. So I feel like, I don't know, but I guess all she had to do was believe in herself, and then she could use her powers as, you know, as she wished. But when Strange is giving her this talk, he is still in his zombie form. And that means props to Benedict for his acting, because I was crying over a zombie. Seriously. But then one of the most heartbreaking scenes of the movie, which consequently I felt was a little bit rushed, to be totally honest, but America essentially gives Wanda what she wants, and she opens the portal to the universe where Wanda has her children. And so the Scarlet Witch goes in, you know, causing chaos. And of course, the children are scared of her because Wanda looks like a witch. I'm gonna be honest. She looks bad. She looks like she hasn't slept in like a week. But essentially by doing this, Wanda, or the Scarlet Witch, realizes that what she's doing is wrong. And even if she did dispose of the Wanda who actually has her children, like, it wouldn't, you know, these children would not love her. And then we have the heartfelt moment of the Wanda with her children, you know, I think essentially forgiving the Scarlet Witch. And she promises to always, you know, she tells the Scarlet Witch that, like, she will always love her children. And so I'm still not sure if Wanda comes back in like a self-realization concept, but the Scarlet Witch essentially, you know, stops what she's doing, and she destroys, she says that she has to destroy the Darkhold so no one is tempted again. And if this is Wanda like re-emerging from her trapped, you know, Sokovian mind fortress, I am a little disappointed with that, because I wanted to see like a physical representation of her, you know, breaking free of the Scarlet Witch's control. But for now, I'm just going to assume that it's still the Scarlet Witch, and if it is, it's nice to know she has, you know, she has a goodness about her. But essentially everyone portals away, and the Scarlet Witch destroys the temple, and consequently what we think also herself. And you cannot tell me Wanda is dead. I will never believe it. She's not dead. We're going to see her again sometime in the future. So that's not up for discussion. But also proves, you know, either Wanda or the Scarlet Witch, you know, she may make her mistakes, have her trials and tribulations, but she always does the right thing in the end. So I think that's important to always know about her. But then we get the conclusion of the movie, and we see America in Camartage actually learning how to use magic. You know, she's created some sparks similar to Ned in No Way Home, who also had some magical abilities. And then Wong does say an interesting sentence. He says, gonna train another kid. So either he's referring to like Shang-Chi because he was in the end credit scene with them, or maybe Ned himself, who did possess the magical ability. So who knows? And something that I think represented Stephen having like a closure personally for himself is that he fixes his watch. So he replaces it. It's the same watch, but he just replaces the watch face, the glass. So it's no longer cracked and broken. And then the final shot of like the movie essentially is Doctor Strange is walking out of the sanctum, and he gets a really bad headache, and then a third eye opens on his forehead, which is what the evil Doctor Strange had. So that was weird and scary, and I didn't like that, but consequences. So always include consequences in your movies for things that happen. So I'm glad that they did include that, in fact. And then we get to the first end credits scene, and it's like Doctor Strange is still walking on the street. It's almost like he is not at all bothered by the fact that he now has a third eye, and that he had like a very debilitating headache a second ago. But someone who looks a lot like an Eternal just by their dress takes him away to fix what he started. I think he started an incursion, and they're trying to fix that. I was so focused on who this person was, I kind of missed some of the dialogue. But yeah, she's dressed like an Eternal, so I'm assuming that's some sort of thing that's going on now. But we will get Doctor Strange 3 because Doctor Strange will return. And not gonna lie, I was sure that the end credit scene at the end of like all the credits was gonna be proof that Wanda was not in fact dead, but it was something dumb, and it was like one of the guys from the other universes that Doctor Strange put a spell on. So bummed about that, but and I still have my beliefs that she is not in fact dead. There was a big red poof before the whole thing collapsed on itself, so, you know, if you don't see someone die in the MCU, they're most likely not dead, or they did not suffer in the way that you think. So overall, I liked the movie. It was fun, it was trippy, loved seeing Wanda. But I actually expected this movie to be a bit more emotional. I expected to be mentally devastated at the end of this movie, and I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't. I think it's because I was reminded in this movie that this is in fact a Doctor Strange movie and not a Wanda Maximoff solo movie. But Wanda, I've said this like 3 times, but I'm kind of like, she is still alive because, as I said earlier, her arc was not completed in this movie. You know, I feel like Wanda, the real Wanda, is still trapped, I think, in the Scarlet Witch's mind. I really wished, and if that's not the case, I do, again, really wish that we saw a physical representation of her, like, breaking free from the rubble. I feel like you can't show that and then not have, like, a mental battle of Wanda versus the Scarlet Witch with, like, because the Scarlet Witch is supposed to be, like, the darker force. And Wanda is like, you know, she's a good, decent person. Yeah, so I think maybe that's why, like, because I did like the movie, but it isn't, like, there's like things about it that I'm kind of like, could have been better, you know? And I think Wanda's story in this movie just feels incomplete to me, which is why I'm holding on to the belief that we will see her again. Also, again, nobody died. Like, people died, but like, people who you really don't want to die, like they've had 3 movies, you're invested in them, they didn't die. So, like, every time something bad happened, like when Wong fell off a cliff, I didn't really care because I knew he wasn't gonna die. So, and I just know Wanda's not dead, I just know it. And also, can you really even kill the Scarlet Witch? I mean, come on. Because House of Harkness, I feel like, might revive her. Actually, like Agatha, I feel like she might do something like that. Also, Wanda and White Vision, like, there's no way Wanda's gone because they still have that whole thing, like White Vision is still out there, so they still have that whole, you know, concept to deal with. So overall, I think this movie provided like a good closure for Stephen Strange, although I feel like that closure was only really romantically and maybe a little bit personally. Like, I don't think there was like a big picture closure for him, especially because, like I said in the beginning, they had people blame him, you know, and like try and guilt trip him for the whole blip thing, which he kind of just like, you can tell he felt bad about it, but then he kind of just like brushed it off at the end. So like that whole little like sub arc, I think, didn't really go anywhere. But I do like that they kind of alluded to that this Steven, like the MCU Steven, is the Steven, because I feel like in every other universe, Stephen Strange is not the best. Like, he's powerful, but he's not like the best Stephen. You know, there's just something about him that's always like bad. Like, he always messes up in quite an astronomical fashion. So I did like this movie, but although I will say there are moments that were supposed to be taken seriously that I couldn't really take seriously, just because of the sheer like incredulity. Like, it was like almost too much. And that's why I feel like I wasn't as emotionally damaged as I wanted to be after seeing this, was because moments that I thought were going to be like heart-wrenching or like mind-blowing, there was always something, there was always like a humorous undertone to it. And I think that's why I didn't feel as bad as I did when I walked out of the movie theater. But I'm glad that they're also wasn't too many cameos in this movie. I feel like people were thinking this was going to be the movie of cameos. We're going to see like a bunch of other people from a bunch of other universes. But I think this movie focused more on the actual multiple other universes themselves and not necessarily all of the people who resided in them, which I'm kind of glad because I feel like it would have gotten a little jumbled and a little too much if you included like all these other different, variants, multiple people of multiple versions of multiple people. That being said, though, I think this movie, Doctor Strange 2, was kind of used to set up like other movies, which I know the Marvel movie franchise has, a habit of doing. But I kind of feel like the events that happened at the end of the first Doctor Strange were kind of ignored. But I am hoping they revisit that in Doctor Strange 3, because when this Eternal, I'm going to call her an Eternal, I don't know what else to call her, but when this Eternal came and she like opened up, or like she slashed the air with like a knife or something, and like it created like a rift where she can travel to like a different time, reality, whatever. But it looked like where Doctor Strange faced off Dormammu. It had that kind of vibe to it. So I'm hoping Doctor Strange 3 will kind of pick up the crumbs that Doctor Strange 1 left us. Also, and I'm gonna keep going back to Wanda because I love her and she's my girl, but like, this is not how I thought they're gonna handle the whole Wanda trying to find her children aspect of the movie. Cause this was like the Scarlet Witch like wanting to like harm another Wanda who has her children, even though her children are made up by her. So that's not how I expected Wanda or the Scarlet Witch to go about that, and I think it disturbed me a little bit. And also, America Chavez, I thought she was a really cool character. And I do hope we get to see her again, and I do kind of wish we went a little bit more in depth with her in this movie, but I'm assuming she's going to be in future Marvel projects, so I'm sure we will get more background on her character in the future. Well, guys, that was my review on Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness. Be sure to leave a like on the video, comment what did you love, like, hate, didn't care for about this movie, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload future Marvel movie reviews as well as Marvel reaction videos and discussion videos. But guys, I hope you liked the movie. I liked it a lot, although there was, just some things that didn't, just had me like, maybe not. But guys, that's all I've got for you today. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.